Now a special presentation from your local election headquarters. This is the Eyewitness News Election Special.
Good evening, I'm Shannon Hegy, and welcome to the Eyewitness News Election Special. Tonight we're going to be taking a closer look at the candidates, where they stand, and the key issues facing Southern New England voters when you head to the polls tomorrow. And joining me this evening to break it all down are Eyewitness News reporters Tim White and Ted Nesi. But first tonight we want to get to our colleague Steve Nielsen, who was out on the campaign trail today with the candidates in two of the big races we're tracking as they tried to drum up some crucial last-minute votes.
The old saying, yard signs don't vote, people do. So how do candidates convince people to vote for them the day before the election?
Alan Fong, very nice to meet you.
In North Kingstown, Cranston Mayor Alan Fung campaigned outside grocery stores looking for your vote for governor.
There's just a ton of people still going through the markets, especially around lunchtime. So I'm just gripping and grinning and making sure that they, get a chance to meet me before tomorrow and I get a chance to ask them for their vote.
Independent Joe Trillo cruising the streets of Rhode Island in his truck.
We're just out doing some last-minute handshaking, trying to meet as many people today as we can.
You can't go backwards.
Governor Gina Raimondo campaigning Sunday night in front of crowds.
You have to get out and vote on Tuesday. It's so important. There's a lot at stake.
Three others are also running for governor. The handshake reigns supreme in the Senate race as well. Both candidates, Bob Flinders
what a pleasure to meet you.
and Sheldon Whitehouse, greeting supporters today.
Jim, good to see you. Thanks for being here and starting up the phone bank.
In lieu of the shake, the state Democrat headquarters was abuzz with phone calls.
And will you be supporting the Democratic ticket?
As intense as Monday was, it's just the opening act to what Tuesday will bring.
And of course, the biggest race here in Rhode Island is that race for governor. We want to take a closer look at it right now. This is our latest WPRI 12 Roger Williams University exclusive poll released 1 week ago, and it shows incumbent Governor Gina Raimondo with a double-digit lead over Republican challenger Alan Fung. Independent Joe Trillo in a distant third at 9%, 8% undecided here. Three other candidates split the remaining 4%. So, we've seen a lot of ads, just flooding the airwaves over the last month or so. But Ted, I got to ask you, with a double-digit lead of 11 points, is there still a path to victory for Alan Fung?
Well, Shannon, first I should disclose, I think we got our wires crossed just a little there. We had a different poll result. I think that was a different one. But ours has, as you say, 11-point lead for Alan Fung. That was just a week ago. I think there is a path for him still, Shannon, but it's a tough one, right? He would need, when he's down 11 points, to peel off quite a few of those Joe Trillo voters who are currently backing the independent. He would also need to have many of the undecideds break for him, and at the same time hope the governor, Gina Raimondo, is not gaining momentum. That's a tough road to hoe.
Yeah, and as you like to say, Ted, it's not just turnout, but where that turnout is going to be, that's something that I'm going to be watching tomorrow, Shannon. We know the governor's campaign has put a lot of effort into their get out the vote strategy. I'll be looking to see if Mayor Fung is going to be able to mobilize that effort as well on Tuesday. Look, he did a lot of that in Cranston for the primary, but that's a smaller amount of voters that he has to get. And it'll be interesting to see the kind of effect that'll have on down ballot races. If the governor gets out the vote in Providence and urban areas, that's going to affect the Democratic candidates down ballot, and vice versa with Alan Fung and the Republicans.
All right, and we don't have to remind our viewers at home that this is a rematch again, so interesting to see how things will play out. All right, we want to shift gears now to another race. Rhode Island Senator Sheldon Whitehouse being challenged by Republican Robert Flinders. And we did hear from both of them on the campaign trail today. But last month, the candidates were here in our Eyewitness News studios facing off in their first televised debate on WPRI 12. Here's a taste of their exchange over the Kavanaugh confirmation hearings.
And his shameful performance in these Kavanaugh hearings, he was a gas bag. It was all about juvenilia in a high school yearbook.
I think it's a bit rich to be lectured on what is appropriate by the candidate who brought both gas bag and doofus into the Republican political lexicon.
And this is a look at our exclusive poll results, which show the incumbent Whitehouse with a comfortable lead over his Republican challenger, 55% to 36%. And we should point out, Tim, that between this poll and the poll we did back in September, there really wasn't much of a change, right?
No, there wasn't. I mean, we're looking at anywhere between 18 and a 19-point margin. But a big event happened between those two polls. Flinders went all in on criticizing Sheldon Whitehouse for his questioning of Supreme Court Justice nominee Brett Kavanaugh. You saw the TV ads, you heard it there in our debate. So he created a lot of buzz in those commercials, but that issue didn't seem to get a lot of traction with voters. As a matter of fact, we asked voters about the nomination of Judge Kavanaugh, and a majority of Rhode Island voters opposed his elevation to the high court.
I also think, Shannon, in fairness to Bob Flinders, it's always hard for a Republican to win a U.S. Senate race in Rhode Island. In fact, I always like to look back at history. The last time a Republican who wasn't a member of the Chafee family won a Rhode Island U.S. Senate race was 1930.
Wow.
The most Ted Nesi
stat ready to
all
go.
time.
All the time. Yep. All right, let's turn now to one big race tomorrow. Most Rhode Islanders won't be voting on, but it could have a major impact here in the state. And that's the rematch for Cranston's District 15 House seat, pitting Democratic House Speaker Nick Mattiello against Republican challenger Stephen Frias. These two were involved in one of the closest races of 2016, with Mattiello narrowly holding on to his House seat by just 85 votes. And I remember when that happened, it had a major impact, and it said something about Mattiello and where he stands in the state, right?
That's right, Shannon. It showed us he was weak and in his own district and had to worry about things back home. I mean, people have to remember the Speaker controls what bills get a vote, which bills pass, where legislators, what committees they sit on. He really sets the tone up there, and that's why this race is important far beyond Cranston.
And Shannon, it was just about 2 weeks ago, I think Ted and I had moderated the only debate between these two candidates, and it happened right here in our studios. There were plenty of differences between Democratic incumbent Nicholas Mattiello and Republican challenger Stephen Frias. From the state's economy,
our tax burden on our citizens has gone from being the 47th most oppressive to the 37th.
47 to 37. Okay, so that's basically we've gone from an F minus to a D minus. In my household, that's not satisfactory.
To taxes.
We've expanded the sales tax on the internet.
We have not.
Yes, we have.
We have not.
I'm paying a tax on the internet. I don't know if you are.
You always had a tax on the internet,
well,
sir.
I'm paying it.
The two also disagreed on taxpayer-funded legislative grants. That's money lawmakers can give to community groups and nonprofits.
If you are dependent on legislative grants, you will not be getting a legislative grant from me.
We have beautiful fields that our kids play on and have the benefit of, because I look at needs, I assess them, and I take care of them.
On legalizing marijuana, Mattiello and Frias found common ground, sort of.
Would you consider it?
We consider all options.
Mr. Frias?
Everybody talks about considering. I'm not in favor of legal pot.
Okay. I'm not in favor either, but we would do the analysis.
Now, oftentimes in a tight race like that one, voter turnout can play a crucial role, and one of the things that can influence voter turnout the most is the weather. So let's bring in Chief Meteorologist Tony Petrarca. And Tony, the weather definitely matters on Election Day, and things unfortunately aren't looking too great for tomorrow right now.
You're right, Shannon. Wet weather for tomorrow, though. Tomorrow morning would be the better portion of the day, just for the simple fact that we're not expecting real heavy rain or thunder, just kind of mist and drizzle. Take a look, and we'll take you through it hour by hour. Watch the time bar. Little speckles of green indicating a little bit of mist or drizzle, but nothing real heavy. But watch how things light up during the afternoon and early evening with reds and yellows. These are downpours and thunderstorms by mid to late afternoon up until about, I would say, well, around by the time the polls close early in the evening, most of this thunderstorm activity will be pulling away. So the morning's not too bad, but certainly enough heavy rain tomorrow afternoon to perhaps slow down some of your travel speeds. But just some sprinkles tomorrow morning, nothing significant. It's doable as far as travel, and even tomorrow you can obviously travel, but it would be slower with some heavier downpours and temperatures in the lower 60s. So not as bad, Shannon, the first half of the day, but certainly coming down hard and windy by tomorrow afternoon.
And if you get caught, you just really earned that I voted sticker. All right, thanks, Tony. Eyewitness News is your local election headquarters, and we will have you fully covered tomorrow before and after the polls close. Join us for live, in-depth coverage on WPRI 12 beginning at 8 p.m. Tuesday, including live results, analysis, and reactions from the candidates. You can also get the latest election results as they come in on WPRI.com. And welcome back to a special edition of Eyewitness News at 6:30, your local election headquarters. Earlier, we took a look at the Rhode Island governor's race. Tomorrow, voters in Massachusetts will also be deciding the state's top office. And joining me once again to discuss the big race are Eyewitness News reporters Tim White and Ted Nesi. Governor Baker has always had high approval ratings.
Yeah, and I got to tell you, the poll numbers right now, Shannon, look pretty good for Republican incumbent Charlie Baker. Let's take a quick look at WBOR Mass Inc. poll released Tuesday shows Baker with a massive lead over Democrat Jay Gonzalez, 68% to 25%. Ted, kind of hard to see a path to victory for Jay Gonzalez.
Yeah, you've seen people overcome even double digits in the last week campaign. 40 points is a lot.
Yeah. All right. Well, Eyewitness News reporter Steph Machado joins us now with more on where these two candidates stand on the issues that impact local voters, including the long talked about South Coast Rail plan.
Democrat Jay Gonzalez says he wants to fix the state's public transportation system in part by raising taxes on millionaires and implementing a tax on college endowments at the state's wealthiest schools like Harvard and MIT.
Which I think is fair. They can afford it. They can continue to do everything they do today, and it will make a meaningful difference for the most important asset in our economy, which is our people.
I don't think we should be punishing colleges and universities. I think we should be investing in them.
Republican incumbent Charlie Baker says he wants to make the MBTA work without any new taxes. Here in southeastern Mass, residents have waited decades for the South Coast Rail, commuter rail service from southeastern Mass to Boston. Baker promised earlier this year to make it happen.
We're going to make commuter rail from Fall River and New Bedford to Boston a reality.
But he supports a phased-in approach. Phase 1 would start in New Bedford and link up with an existing line through Middleborough. It's a longer trip than the full build plan that has been talked about for years, an electrified line through Stoughton. Gonzalez said in a recent visit to the South Coast he wants to go for the full build and not phase it in.
I would get it done as quickly as we can, but I don't think we should do it quicker to do a project that is one that's asking you to settle. That's going to add a lot of time to the route.
On health care, Gonzalez says he supports a single-payer health care system, while Baker opposed a Senate bill to study single-payer. His campaign says he wants to rein in spending and fix the state's health connector.
And we're also going to be tracking a number of local contests that could impact the balance of power in Washington. You've been hearing a lot about that on national news, including the race for U.S. House seat in Massachusetts' 9th Congressional District. That's Southern Fall River, New Bedford, the Cape, and the Islands.
Yes, so four-term Congressman Bill Keating, he's a Democrat. He is facing a well-funded challenge from Republican Peter Tedeschi. You might recognize the name. His family did own those convenience stores, the Tedeschi chain, before it was sold. I was there when they debated New Bedford a couple weeks ago, and one of the things they clashed on was the Trump tax cuts.
That was $2.3 trillion unfunded, over 1/10 of the entire national debt right there. That hurts our ability to deal with infrastructure issues.
We have very low unemployment. We have more job openings. We have people looking for jobs right now. And I'm hoping that that is going to help fill the gap.
Now, among the other three congressmen in our region, Democrat Joe Kennedy is running unopposed, Joe Kennedy, I should say, and national forecasters say David Cicilline and Jim Langevin should be safe. But when we say safe, they are all very much watching what happens nationally because they have a lot riding on that.
Yeah, because we're in a region that generally almost always sends Democrats to Congress, and all of those gentlemen, Joe Kennedy, Jim Langevin, David Cicilline, and Bill Keating, if Bill Keating is successful, could be in the majority if Democrats take back the House. That would be the first time since 2010. David Cicilline, for example, is running to be the #4 U.S. House Democrat. If they're in the majority, he will have a lot more sway up there. So they have a lot riding on the election results all over the country.
And David Cicilline was elected in 2010, as Ted points out, so he's never been in the majority party.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Turning our attention now locally once again, voters in both Rhode Island and Massachusetts will be facing a lot of ballot questions. The one getting the most attention in Massachusetts is question 1. It would limit patient ratios for nurses. And Eyewitness News reporter Steph Machado has been all over the key Bay State races. She joins us once more with the details you need to know about this controversial referendum.
Patient limits mean more time with your nurse.
The commercials are playing non-stop. Video of nurses appearing in ads both for and against question 1.
At the end of the day, if this ballot measure passes, patients would be put at risk.
The measure on the Massachusetts ballot would limit the number of patients per nurse in hospitals. The limits depend on the unit and condition of patient. For example, 1 nurse per patient under anesthesia, or 5 patients per nurse if the patients are non-urgent and stable.
The one thing that this does different is it really, for the first time, gives a vote to people and puts them in control of health care.
The Massachusetts Nurses Association says the staffing limits are needed for patient safety, but hospitals say the law would come with exorbitant costs as they would need to hire more nurses to meet the ratios, and nurses are in short supply. An analysis conducted by the state's Independent Health Policy Commission found it could cost between $676 million and $949 million per year, and the study found community hospitals would be the most affected.
What we would have to do in order to comply with the regulation is to cut back about 1/3 of our beds, which would mean for us a $2.5 million revenue loss on our bottom line, and we're a break-even charitable organization.
Julie Pinkham with the Nurses Association criticized the new report as relying too much on industry data and not on safety needs.
If I have 4 patients and you put on your call button, I can get to you. If I have 8, you wait. What happens when you wait? Sometimes something bad happens.
And if you're a voter, you're hearing all these ads on radio and television, and all of them, whether they're for or against this question, have nurses talking about it. It's got to be confusing as a voter.
And I think confusion could play a big part in if this question is defeated. If people aren't sure where where they stand on this, and they haven't really studied it, and they hear nurses on both sides, they might just vote no, pump the brakes on this issue for now.
Right, and we should point out a recent poll by WBUR shows nearly 60% saying that they will say no on that question. So you wonder if that's the reason behind it. Is
hospitals have put a lot of money too into defeating this one, and I think you're seeing the effect.
Right. One of 3 questions facing voters in Massachusetts tomorrow is that question 1. The others involve creating a campaign finance commission and repealing the state's transgender rights law.
Rhode Island voters will also be asked to weigh in on 3 ballot questions. Question 1, this is the big school bond, seeks to borrow $250 million for K-12 school repairs across Rhode Island. Question 2 seeks $70 million for facilities at URI and RIC, and question 3 seeks $47 million for green economy and clean water projects.
And if you want to read more about these and really familiarize yourself with the details, you can find it all as part of our voter's guide on WPRI.com. We've posted links to valuable voter information, including sample ballots for your community to help you prepare before you cast your vote. And welcome back to this Eyewitness News election special on your local election headquarters. The most important thing to remember about Election Day is to make sure your voice is heard and to get out and vote. If you're voting in Rhode Island, polls in most communities open at 7 a.m. and close at 8. You must be registered to vote already, and you must show valid ID at your polling place. And to find your polling location, just go to vote.ri.gov or follow the link on WPRI.com. In Massachusetts, the polls are also open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. In most communities, no ID is required, but you must have registered by October 17th. Massachusetts residents can find their polling place at wheredoiVoteMA.com. That link also available on WPRI.com. And I'm once again joined by Eyewitness News reporters Tim White and Ted Nesi. You know, we've talked a lot about the statewide races, but several locals and cities and towns are also electing mayors tomorrow.
That's right. Among the mayoral races that we're watching is in Providence, where Democratic incumbent Jorge Elorza is being challenged by independent Diane Dede Whitman. In Warwick, acting Mayor Joseph Solomon will try to earn the job permanently when he faces off against Republican Sue Stenhouse. And East Providence will elect its first ever mayor tomorrow, either Roberto Da Silva or James Russo. They were the top 2 finishers in September's 4-way primary.
So before we close out tonight, both of you, what are you expecting from tomorrow?
Well, what I'm looking for tomorrow, besides the big races, governor's race and District 15 with the House Speaker, is turnout. Non-presidential years in Rhode Island tend to have a lower turnout. 2014 was a real low point in recent years. So I'm going to be looking to see if the electorate is energized going into this election, and we might already be seeing that because there's an increase in mail ballots already that we're seeing this year. And honestly, what will be the political makeup of the country nationally when we wake up on Wednesday morning?
Same question I have. I mean, I think Washington's going to be a very different place if the Democrats do take back the House, which, as I was looking at the forecast before we went on the air tonight, is the more likely scenario right now. Very different when you have a divided government in Washington. So I think that'll be interesting, and we'll feel the ripple effects back here in southern New England.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you so much, Ted Nesi and Tim White. And remember, Eyewitness News is your local election headquarters. We'll have you covered tomorrow night with live coverage beginning as soon as the polls close at 8 p.m. on WPRI 12 and WPRI.com with with up-to-the-minute election results, live victory and concession speeches, and in-depth analysis you won't get anywhere else. And be sure to check out WPRI.com before you head to the polls for information to help you make an informed decision. There you can watch all of our Eyewitness News debates in their entirety, plus where they stand. Compare and contrast how candidates in several key races responded to our questionnaires about the key issues. And as we mentioned earlier, you'll also find our voter's guide with important links and resources to help you prepare for Election Day. Thank you so much for joining us for this special presentation on your local election headquarters. We'll see you for continuing election night coverage tomorrow night on WPRI 12.